Today on our agenda, we're going to start off with an informational hearing on worker-owned cooperatives. Very excited about this. And first up to testify is Ben Nelson, followed then by Katie Marty. If both of you wanted to come up, and then I'll just keep introducing the next person. So welcome very much. So glad to have you here at the Senate Labor Committee. And if you would introduce yourself and any title that you'd like to share with us, and then proceed with your testimony.
All right, great, thank you. Thank you, Chair McEwen and members of the committee for the opportunity to be with you today. We appreciate your time and interest in the cooperative business model, and it's a significant part of our co-op day here at the Capitol. My name is Ben Nelson. I am the Executive Director of Cooperative Network, and that is the trade association for co-ops across both Minnesota and Wisconsin. We help cooperative executives lead better through policy intelligence and advocacy, connecting peer networks, and developing strategic insights. Our membership spans many sectors: agriculture, energy, grocery, retail, financial services, worker-owned cooperatives, and so on. Minnesota cooperatives alone generate over $11 billion in economic output, support almost 80,000 jobs, and deliver several $100 million in net state and local tax revenue, and that includes worker co-ops. Today, we focus on worker co-ops, businesses owned and governed by employees, operating on one worker, one vote, and this aligns business success directly with worker success. In today's economy, they address foundational economic challenges, including business succession, keeping local ownership alive, while building workforce stability, quality jobs, worker wealth, and real voice. This is especially vital for rural communities and small business transitions. Minnesota's ecosystem is strong and growing, and today you'll hear directly from organizations and businesses that are putting this into practice. Real examples from ag innovation to local services showing worker co-op success and their potential. With that, thank you again for your time. Feel free to reach out to Cooperative Network at any time to continue this conversation across the cooperative space. And with that, I'll turn it over to our partners and practitioners who will share their experience and insight with you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, or good afternoon. My name is Katie Marty. I'm with Co-Minnesota. Thank you, Chairwoman McEwen and committee members for the time today. Co-Minnesota is a program of Co-North, a local cooperative development nonprofit. And Co-Minnesota specifically works to bring together cooperatives of all types around our state and also raise awareness of the power and potential of the cooperative business model to meet some of our most pressing challenges. To ensure we're all on the same page, I wanted to share a definition of a cooperative, which is an organization that is owned and controlled by the people who use them. There are three key components here: that cooperatives are member-owned, meaning that users have an equity in the business, right, some skin in the game, and that those same owners receive the benefits. So any surplus or profit is returned back to those members based on how much they have used the co-op. And then those same members are the ones who control the co-op. Each member gets one vote, no matter how much they have invested or used the cooperative, making it a very democratic model. So united with the common purpose to serve members, there are many different types of cooperatives with various functions to help their members earn more, save more, produce more, share more. And as you may well know, Minnesota is home to some of the largest agriculture cooperatives, such as Land O'Lakes and CHS. 42% of Minnesota's electrical grid is powered by rural electric co-ops, and over 2 million Minnesotans are members of credit unions. Today, we are seeing increased interest in real estate investment cooperatives to revitalize main streets, housing cooperatives to help solve the housing crisis, worker cooperatives for creating decent jobs, and that latter of which we're here to talk about today. There are more cooperatives in Minnesota than in any other state in the country, and they have been a critical part of our history in providing stability, jobs, and access to opportunities. And the co-op sector is much larger than we think. There are over 2.6 million cooperatives worldwide with 1 billion memberships. That means 1 in every 6 people in the world is has a membership or a client of a co-op. In the US, that means over 40,000 co-ops. So all of this, why do co-ops matter? Co-ops keep money and jobs in their local communities. This is through the multiplier effect, similar to any local business. A local co-op supports jobs, local purchasing, and then has the added benefit of profits being returned back into its members and invested in its community. Second, that cooperatives are more resilient in economic downturns and in their local communities. So cooperatives don't just respond to outside investors, they have the flexibility to not prioritize that immediate financial return. They're governed by local community members, so the cooperative often prioritizes maintaining jobs and minimizing risk. Third, that cooperatives aren't charity. They're often created as a tool of self-help. So by pooling resources, a community is able to access resources they would not be able to alone. This is really important because cooperatives are then community-led, and they're also bringing some money to the table. And then fourth, there's no one right way to do a co-op. As we saw from the depth and breadth of the various co-op types, a co-op business model can create 5 jobs for a small worker-owned co-op bakery, or it could scale to the Fortune 100 company of CHS. So cooperatives are often started in a time of need or market failure. This can be when a community cannot access the goods and services they need or that maybe they used to be able to. So we have a few of these issues that are especially challenging for Minnesotans at this moment, such as housing and childcare. In housing, one time tested model creating significant impact is the conversion of manufactured home parks into cooperatives. One such example is at Hillcrest Cooperative in Clarks Grove, Minnesota. I believe this is in Senator Dornick's district. And then for childcare, we're really seeing, parent-owned, worker-owned models and then shared services. And a newer approach is local businesses that are serving as the members of a childcare co-op that's motivated by the need to find employees for their business. So all of these up on the screen have proven cooperative solutions that can apply across our entire state, but are especially important as tools for greater Minnesota. Lastly, Co-Minnesota is hosting the 2nd annual statewide Minnesota Cooperative Summit in Duluth this summer to explore these types of sticky challenges and really pair knowledge and inspiration for attendees, most of which maybe do not know about cooperatives, but are able to then bring these cooperative ideas as solutions back to their communities. We held this event last year for the first time in Morris, Minnesota, and it sold out at 200 attendees with over 250 interested. So based on this demand, we're moving it to an even bigger space and have a bigger conversation this year. Thank you all so much for your time, and I'm really excited to introduce to you all these wonderful practitioners doing worker co-ops.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Next on our list of testifiers, we have Kirsten Kennedy. I hope I just pronounced that, your name correctly. And then Christina Nicholson. Welcome to the Senate Labor Committee. If you would also please introduce yourself for the record and then proceed with your testimony.
Good afternoon. My name is Kirsten Kennedy, and I'm the Executive Director of the Minnesota Center for Broad Employee Ownership. Thank you, Chair McEwen and Senators, for having us today. We are a 501(c) nonprofit. There are 25 employee ownership centers throughout the United States. I am part of 19 that were started by the Employee Ownership Expansion Network. What we do, we help owners, we educate, we work with workers that have maybe an owner that's older and they're thinking, hey, we don't have a plan. We help with worker ownership succession planning, and then we spend time with owners going over their financials, their hopes and dreams, and then we try to pair them with the employee ownership model of their choice. I will say in my 4 years in this position, I've had 300 owners come through, and every owner, except for about 5, looks at 2 types of employee ownership. Went over what we do. So why are we doing this? The silver tsunami, which 15 years ago, I heard it was coming. We are drowning in it now. We have 52,000 plus business owners that are over the age of 60, and you can look on this. You can look on your packet to see the impact it has in our state. So I'm going to share with you today the state of employee ownership in Minnesota. I'm going to start with employee stock ownership plans, or an ESOP. We have 248 in Minnesota as of last year. And the stock, here's the easiest way to put it, I always tell people. You go to work, and that's how you build your retirement. It's a qualified 401k, and the employees benefit from that, and I have seen transformative in all types of employee ownership that, as we know, 50% of people have no retirement, and the average retirement people have is $75,000. When you look at employee ownership, it's about $1 million. Here you can look at the statistics, 99 billion in assets. You can look at everything up there, and our new state of ESOPs will be coming out soon, and I'll make sure you get a copy. Employee ownership trusts. So typically what I say is an ESOP, you need about 1 million to 1.2 profitability and about 25 employees to fit that model. With an employee ownership trust, about 300,000, and really any size. And it also gives out those benefits while you're in, like the cooperative worker cooperative model. We are here today to celebrate the worker-owned cooperatives of Minnesota. When I started, I think we had 15, 16, we now have 19 plus. And worker-owned cooperatives are good for all business sizes. And one little nugget I'll share about broad employee ownership is that an owner has to be willing for transition to accept a fair market value. So if an owner calls and says, I went out in 30 days and I want the most money I can get, employee ownership is probably not their model. I also want to celebrate by having everyone just look at the worker-owned cooperatives that we have here in Minnesota. It is transformative. You are going to hear from practitioners that are moving the needle, and we are excited to see what the next 5 years will be in broad employee ownership. You can see how you can help incentivize owner transitions, remove regulatory barriers, fund feasibility, and education, and invest in economic resilience. In Rush City, Minnesota, 5 years ago, they lost their mill. 32 people lost their jobs. It's a city that was already struggling, and once a business like that goes out, it is devastating. And so keeping businesses in their communities with owners that are there and have an idea of community. All employee ownership models are not only in their community, they're investing in their community and their workers. And support infrastructure, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for allowing us to be here today and giving us your time. I'm Nikuli Tabata. I'm part of Nexus Community Partners. And I'll be talking a little bit with my colleague, Christine, about some of the work that we're doing. But all good. All right. But essentially just wanting to highlight the things that I haven't mentioned today. But before I go there, I want to talk about Nexus Community Partners. We are an organization that's been around for 22 years, doing some incredible work, and not more recently, in the past 10 plus years, really focusing on community wealth building. And one of those things for us means cooperatives. It started with the North Star Black Cooperative Fellowship. As mentioned, education is a big piece of cooperation and building all these entities for businesses, for owners, for people to own the businesses and own the labor. And so it started with the North Star, really honing in on political education, cooperative history, governance, the business strategy, implementation, and really allocating culturally rooted cooperative education to really get people prepared for what it looks like to share resources, to share the labor, to share the decision-making entities that come into a cooperative, as well as build pathways to formal and informal types of cooperatives. In our 9 cohorts of doing this, we have our first worker cooperative that is coming up, and we're truly excited to have a Black worker cooperative in the works, taking part in this incredible legacy. But also earlier that was mentioned was the statewide impact for community-rooted work and cooperatives. We're seeing a lot of movement around rural Minnesota in the moves for cooperative work, supporting the hopes to support socially connected and economically independent communities to really take part in the space, creating pathways towards cooperatives and collective ownership as a way for people to tap into their local economy but also own their labor, as well as fun things like centering joy, wellness, and cultural connection alongside economic development. I think at the base of it all, cooperatives are businesses that need access to capital. Cooperatives represent this incredible additional economic development tool to grow our local economies. And Nexus, along with all those folks here, are part of the organizations in the ecosystems that are doing this work to move forward. And I'll pass it over to my colleague, Christina.
Thank you so much, Nikuli, and thank you, Chair and Senators here this afternoon. I'm going to take a breath because we're just running a million miles a minute to cram in so much data for you all. So I want you to be able to move at the space of absorption. So I'm here today to talk a little bit about statistics, everyone's favorite pastime. And one of the reasons I've been working in cooperatives for almost 30 years now, one of the things that I have found to be most compelling about the cooperative movement writ large is that my father, who is a third-generation farmer in rural Iowa, and I actually have something to talk about. So the common foundation of cooperative development has been known in rural communities for many generations. We're excited to connect that legacy and that history to this formation of worker co-ops here in the U.S. In the United States in 2004, worker-owned co-ops in the United States generated $806 million in annual revenue on their own. The pay ratio for most worker cooperatives is 1.5 to 5 on average. For a traditional traded company, that ratio is upwards of 500 to 1. For worker co-ops nationwide, we have over 1,300 worker-owned co-ops in the United States. We are here representing Minnesota. As Katie, my colleague, mentioned earlier, we are the most robust cooperative state in the union. Not to brag, but hashtag Minnesota. In terms of impact of cooperatives, some things to keep in mind is equity and access. People of color make up 56.8% of worker owners, and women make up 62.5% of worker owners in the United States economy currently. Worker owner co-ops are 2/3 more likely to succeed than the average U.S. company, which has a failure rate of over 90%. Worker co-ops enjoy 5% higher productivity levels than traditional businesses. Worker co-ops have workers with a higher level of job satisfaction as taken in survey and maintain annual employee turnover of 15% as compared to a traditional business of between 40 and 60%. Lastly, I wanted to, as the kids younger than me say, let you know we are out here. So worker co-ops are a part of every industry that you can find in the United States. There is no limitation to the kind of business that a worker co-op can do. The limitations are within the structure and the mutual accountability that exists between all of the owners of the enterprise. We provide support in agriculture, transportation, construction, retail trade, and manufacturing, in addition to accommodation food services, and some of the areas in the United States that are experiencing the highest rate of transition, including home health care and transportation for Uber and Lyft. So we are looking at models of worker-owned cooperatives that provide the safety, care, and respect that these drivers deserve. So this isn't a unicorn, as much as folks like to think that it is. What it is a structure that holds each other and the owners accountable, teaches everyday citizens what it means to look at a profit and loss statement, a balance sheet, and to understand the equity of their labor and the relationship between those two things in terms of their investment, their time, and their life force coming back to them in a tangible asset. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to one of our colleagues who will be speaking about their worker co-op.
Thank you very much for all of your testimony. The next people I have on our list are Dave Abbott, followed by Darren Mosenter.
You got it right the first time.
Sorry. And then we have some virtual testifiers after that. So welcome to the Senate Labor Committee. If you would please introduce yourselves and then proceed with your testimony.
Okay. Hi, I'm Dave Abbott. I am a carpenter at Terra Firma Building and Remodeling. I'm also currently acting as vice president. My term will be up after this year, so I'm excited that this overlapped with me a bit. I'm coming right from an addition over in Matt Groveland, so you'll have to pardon my dust. I'm still in my work gear. But our office is just off of Territorial and Raymond over in Senator Verbatim's district, so if you ever want to come by, we're very proud of our office. I want to talk a bit about give an example of sort of a success story. I was hired at Terra Firma around 2011. We became employee-owned in 2013. Around that time, we had 12 employees, and according to the bylaws we just wrote our own, essentially Magna Carta, that we just keep on rewriting, building the ship as we fly it. There are about 8 owners, total 12 employees, including the 8 owners. Now, we have 35 employees and 22 owners. This puts us as one of the largest direct democracy employee-owned cooperatives in the state. We also recently, as one of our favorite subcontractors, a cabinet shop, was getting ready to retire. We had just moved into our new office and saw an opportunity, and we bought the cabinet shop. So we now have 2 divisions on top of that. This transition is desirable by a lot of people if they've even heard about the model. The whole concept of employee ownership and workplace democracy is pretty alien because we're not really taught about it. It took me 3 years to get to this point where I feel am motivated and engaged enough to come here and do this. But it doesn't have to be difficult. A lot of people, when they hear about it, they need time and they need patience. That's what made us successful. Our founder, back in 2013, he's still an employee. He gave us, to simplify it, a 20-year loan so we could buy what the company was worth with interest, and it was really a great deal for us, and it really lends to our success. If other people want to make this transition, we really need to act now, because as we've sort of referenced, the silver tsunami, this record number of people set to retire to sell businesses that will most likely get gobbled up by private equity and not recirculated back into this economy could easily just be bought by local workers and employees. But it takes education and it takes time. So I do want to say that even among other cooperatives, Terra Firma is kind of unique because we are that direct democracy. Each owner, after you get to write your own laws with this. After 4 years, you can buy in, become an owner, provided you get a good vote. And each owner gets 1 vote, and we split profits equally depending on how many hours you worked that year. Simple. But it's really hard to find. There is no directory. There is no definition of really what qualifies as employee-owned. I took it upon myself to try to figure this out. I emailed the Secretary of State and combed through, I believe it was 3 million business records, sorted by 308A, 308B, but even within that, it doesn't separate worker co-ops from other co-ops. I found about a dozen in the state. We meet once a month, the people who have reached out to and who are nearby. We're actually meeting tonight at Happy Earth Cleaning. And we really just want to be able to spread more of this co-op and support each other. On that note, we do want to be able to spread this model, seeing as it's been so successful and it's so good for the local economy, but we really need to get some steps in there to help educate people beyond just the nonprofits, and we need more voices from other worker co-ops and other success stories, and it would help if it was from the state government as well, to give people more of a financial assistance, education, and the infrastructure to get this to happen. When this happens, when this happens, we keep the money in the economy. We make sure these businesses last because it is a naturally built-in incentive to not sell the business and to keep it stable. And that's where I was. Wisconsin, the Minnesota bit. I don't know if y'all heard about Wisconsin Assembly Bill 17 from last year, but they're trying to beat us and be the leaders, but we gotta do this now. They're trying to help incentivize this transition. I don't know all of the details about it because I am a simple carpenter. But it did pass unanimously in the Wisconsin House. It stalled in the Senate. It was essentially a way to incentivize owners to sell to their employees. I would highly recommend looking into that. It's stalled in the Senate, so we can now pass them and beat them there. And I say this as a Badger. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, that's a hard act to follow, but I'll do my best. Chair McEwen, members of the committee, my name is Darren Mazenter, and I am a senior shared ownership advisor with the Minnesota Consortium of Community Developers, also known as MCCD. Thank you for this opportunity to testify today and hear from all of us about the power of worker-owned cooperatives and the positive impacts that they can make for Minnesotans. Shared ownership, especially worker-owned cooperatives, are key levers for building individual and community wealth. Co-ops create and preserve jobs, and like everyone else has been saying so far. But more than that, the co-op model has built-in features that directly lead to workers building individual, family, and community financial wealth, especially in industries with traditionally lower wages. So I'm going to drill down a little bit on kind of the wealth building aspects of worker-owned cooperatives. And really there's two primary wealth building mechanisms. The first is that worker-owned cooperatives have dramatically smaller internal pay differentials. I think Christina was mentioning before that on average, conventionally owned businesses, the top earner is paid on the order of 290 times more what the bottom earner is paid. In worker-owned cooperatives, it's 1.5 times as more. So the wages that are going out in that business to all the workers is more evenly distributed. You can see by the graph in the conventionally owned businesses, the top earner gets all the dollar signs, the bottom one gets one. In a co-op, it's just 1.5. The second aspect is that co-ops, as part of their structure, are legally obligated to distribute all their profits to all their owners based on what each worker owner contributes to the business, not on how much they own. In worker co-ops, like we just heard, the usual measure of this contribution is the hours that each worker works in any fiscal year. So the profits are more evenly distributed. The National Center for Employee Ownership reports that the median net household wealth is 92% higher for people working in employee-owned businesses than for those in conventionally owned businesses. As for community wealth building, we heard earlier that a lot of money that is spent in locally owned businesses is recirculated back into that that community. The Institute for Local Self-Reliance reports that $48 of each 100 spent in a locally owned business is recirculated back into the community versus around 14 for externally owned or chain stores. And I'd like to illustrate all this with my personal experience to get a little bit more grounded in one person's reality. I'm a former worker owner and a beneficiary of this wealth building model. Before I moved to Minnesota about 6 years ago, I was a worker owner in a cooperatively owned and operated retail bakery store in the San Francisco Bay Area in California. And I spent about 20 years there. During that time, I received 50% higher wages than my fellow bakers in conventionally owned bakeries, had full benefits, health, dental, PTO, 401k, and more, and shared in the annual profits of the business, which were anywhere from $1 an hour to $13 an hour extra on top of my salary. This wealth building opportunity enabled my wife and I, my wife was a public elementary school teacher, to purchase a home in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I just want to repeat that for clarity. A baker and a public school elementary teacher were able to purchase a home in one of the most expensive home markets in the country. You know, we didn't own a fabulous mansion, but we owned a solid house. And this was not an anomaly. Of my 30 plus co-owners, over half of them became homeowners as well while they were working at the bakery. We were able to stabilize our housing costs in a rapidly increasing rental and ownership market. And we also started building generational wealth for our families. Thank you again for the time and opportunity to inform you about the wealth building opportunities that are an integral part of worker-owned cooperatives. And I'd like to turn it over to my fabulous friends at Positively 3rd Street in Duluth.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Next, we do have two people who will join us to testify virtually. First, Jesse Harth, followed by Tony Bodelson. Welcome. Welcome to the Senate Labor Committee. It's a pleasure to have you. If you would please introduce yourselves and then proceed with your testimony.
Good afternoon. My name is Jesse Harth. I'm from Duluth, Minnesota, and I've been an owner at cooperative-run bakery for 2 decades, Positively 3rd Street Bakery. Thank you for the opportunity to testify on how this has impacted my life. It's been an interesting journey, to say the least. I grew up on a family farm, and you kind of get the idea that hard work on a family farm pays off. But when you get into the regular working world, you don't really see that. And so switching to the cooperative bakery model for me was a little bit of an unlearning process. Understanding that like the hours and hard labor that I put in were rewarded was a little bit of a transition for me. But because of that, things like, similar to Darren, I was able to buy a home. And when I first started at the bakery, I was actually in pretty deep debt from a severe medical injury. And I was able to pay off that debt. We were able to, make advancements within the bakery because we were able to work together and come to consensus on how we want to move forward investing in the bakery, which has allowed us to do things like have retirement, health savings, take time off and have flexibility. I personally love going to the Boundary Waters for like a month every year. And at a normal job, you can't do that. So being able to have workers that you get to talk to face really helped me to build up problem-solving skills, as well as like speaking in a group and, having agency for yourself versus going to a manager or going to, a person that would go and give somebody, the runaround for the trouble that you have with them. But for us, we get to talk to each other when we have problems. And that's really been a good asset for me because, in the real world, there are problems that we have to deal with and people that you might not get along with, but you don't necessarily have to deal with that in the same way as a coworker. So we've had really great opportunities for mentoring a very diverse group of people, which has allowed us to have amazing ideas brought forth that, has made our business what I would consider very profitable. Hoping, that the new workers that we're mentoring are able to do the same things that I have been able to do and bringing them up so that they're able to have sort of the choose your own adventure life that I have had at the bakery. Owning the means of production is the beginning, but it goes further than that because our connections have extended into the wider community. So for example, during COVID, when everyone had supply chain issues, most of our supply chain was fine because we are hyper-local. Those products might not be cheaper, like the bottom line, ingredient prices, but because we've made those connections with communities, we were able to continue operating and not have supply chain problems like everybody else I know. And speaking to this silver tsunami, I love the alliteration, by the way, it's very, rolls off the tongue. But my best friend last night told me that the job he's been at for almost 30 years might be done this next week, and he's put his whole life into it. The owner decided they were going to take a bunch of money out. They might sell the business. He might not have a job in a month, and he's put his whole life into that. And it's really sad to see that because he really loves his job, but because he doesn't have a hand on the wheel at his job, he has no power. Whereas here, I trust everybody that I work with, like explicitly. If I needed something, they are there for me. And building community has, costs. You need time, energy, even money, but the payback comes back. Like, for instance, we give out free cookies on Sundays to kids, and I've seen people come like 30 years later and be like, that cookie meant so much to me growing up, and I will always shop here because I really appreciate it. We don't pay for advertising as a business, we never have, but our donations to organizations that we support, including like the people affected by ICE, people affected by you name it, we have helped, and that has come back to us tenfold. And this environment of division, our bakery is just very much focused on welcoming everyone and allowing a space for any worker who needs to find a space to work in to figure out where that is. And it could be, making stuff, it could be doing reports, it could be the books, it could be anything. And when they find their place in the bakery, it helps us to thrive so much. I personally have really benefited and grown a lot here and thrived because of it. And I really feel proud when other workers have that same experience where they get to choose how they want to flourish within this environment and grow. With that, I'll turn it over to my coworker and friend, Tony, to speak more about this. But thank you guys for your time.
Hello, I'm Tony Bodelston, also from Positively 3rd Street, Duluth. And I thank you for your time and allowing us the chance to discuss our stories. I really want to advocate for co-ops' abilities to be inclusive. For myself, I have been at Positively 3rd Street for about 4 years, but was in a co-op before that for another 7. And so I've really been ingrained in the co-op life for over a decade and have found that not only for myself, but for others who I have worked with, it has been a game-changing scenario. Trying to go from working in a job that has a vertical hierarchy is very difficult for a lot of neurodiverse individuals. And I find that having a horizontal level of decision-making is really helpful. It makes it so people are able to have a direct and honest communication with each other. We, as a bakery, are able to discuss what works for us, what doesn't, on a day-to-day or in a long-term situation. And I think that horizontal structure really allows for a deeper communication and understanding of everyone involved. And it's not just here at the bakery, any other co-op that I've heard, there's more communication, and it makes it a lot easier to kind of dissipate those ideas. Also, there's a lot of flexibility that comes with co-ops, whether it's, again, day-to-day, if your shift is too much, I have a hard time working on X, Y, or Z. We have enough people to pick things up and allow people to really shine on what their strengths are. You don't need to, not everybody has to be perfect at every job that we do, but it's a lot easier for us to change those roles and really fit a job to a person. And so you don't need to be, that perfect ideal employee who can cover it all, because no one can cover it all. I think also one thing that has been really important for myself, again, is the economic side. I find it personally very hard to work full-time, and a lot of neurodiverse people do. And being able to split the economic benefits of the bakery has been very beneficial. I've been able to work part-time, and I'm currently on the road to buying my own home, which is something no other part-time baker in Duluth, I feel, would really have the opportunity to say. And it's really, really exciting. I really do think that co-ops can be a really good safe haven for people with disabilities and neurodiverse individuals. And I think that that's something that really needs to be highlighted. But yeah, we really appreciate you all hearing our stories, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for your testimony, and also thank you for the delicious baked goods that you make for Duluthians. I was just there over the weekend, so really, really appreciate all of you. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Next up, our final testifier is Leslie Watson. Welcome. If you would please introduce yourself and proceed with your testimony.
All right, thank you. Bringing it home. Good afternoon. My name is Leslie Watson, and I'm the Executive Director of Cooperative Development Services. Chair McEwen and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify today. Drawing on CDS's experience, I want to offer two concrete examples of how public investment can support the work and the outcomes that you have been hearing about today. So CDS is a nonprofit co-op development center based in Eagan, and we have been helping co-ops get off the ground and grow here in Minnesota as well as in Wisconsin and Iowa elsewhere in the region for over 4 decades. We have worked with many kinds of co-ops over the years, including food co-ops, senior housing co-ops, and extensive work with farmer-owned co-ops, helping producers come together, pool their resources, and build businesses they own together. This work we know very well. Worker co-op conversion is a newer sector for us, and I'm sharing that because I think that our story illustrates how public funding can help to create new capacity to support worker co-ops and worker co-op conversions. So CDS has long received annual funding for our work in rural communities through the USDA's Rural Cooperative Development Grant Program. And over the last 2 years, we've made a very intentional choice to use a significant portion of that award to build our capacity to support worker owner co-ops. That federal grant has allowed us to build the knowledge, the partnerships, and the staff capacity to do that work. And today, thanks to that investment, we are actively supporting a small business owner and their 23 employees through a conversion to worker ownership. It's happening right now. We're in between meetings, actually. And that just wouldn't have been possible without the groundwork that federal investment helped to lay for us. So I offer us as an example of what smart and focused public investment makes possible in terms of technical assistance and capacity. Beyond that, I also want to share with you our perspective on how public support can lift up co-ops directly. So some of you may know that the Minnesota Department of Agriculture's Cooperative Development Grant Program, which supports new farmer co-ops, was established about 3 years ago, just in its 3rd year, but it is already making a real difference. 6 of CDS's client farmer co-ops have been funded through that program to date. These are modest grants in the range of $5,000 to $50,000, but they come at exactly the right moment in a co-op's life. Early, when decisions about structure and governance and feasibility and business planning really matter. These grants help these farmer-owned co-ops start out on much firmer footing. And without that early public support, I don't think that all of our clients might have made it past the planning stage. So here's the parallel that I want to draw. The same logic of that MDA program applies to other kinds of co-ops, including worker-owned co-ops. When a small business owner is ready to retire and wants to sell to their employees rather than to an outside buyer, that is a great opportunity, as you have been hearing, for the workers, for the community, and for the local economy. But the conversion process is complex. It takes expertise to do it right, and that expertise costs money, and it takes an investment that some small businesses and their workers may not just have sitting around. We want these worker-owned businesses to start out strong so that they can have all those good outcomes and give those workers a real stake in a place where they work in a thriving and successful business. But sometimes they need some early extra support to do that. Minnesota knows how to do this now for farmer co-ops. And so we urge you to consider extending that same kind of support to worker-owned co-ops as well as other kinds of co-ops in the state. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Members, we do have some other things on our agenda coming up, so I don't want to take too much time, but I do want to just give us a moment if anyone has any questions for any of the speakers we've heard from today or wants to make any comments on any of the things that we've heard. Senator Dornick?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to thank you all for coming. I could tell the excitement as each person came up to testify, and I appreciate that. And I see the carpenter left already, but that's what I did for 40 years. So he's, I just appreciate him coming in his clothes. I've done that many times. Like, I just came off the job. But anyways, it's exciting to be able to be a business owner, and you're making it easier, and the cooperatives, and growing up on a farm too, as one of the other testifiers had mentioned, working together. This is not new, right? With the electric co-ops and the food co-ops and the health co-ops and all those things. So very excited about this. I just had one or two questions. I'll be quick to maybe the last testifier, Ms. Watson, if she would.
Please come on up.
Thank you. Thank you for your Madam Chair.
After you.
I appreciate your testimony. But just as you're, maybe quickly, maybe I'll have to talk to someone afterwards, but just the conversion and the time, can you navigate through that maybe a little bit more of the expense? And I know that sounds like the policy, maybe you or don't, maybe you know about the Wisconsin bill. I guess I'd like to hear that, Senate file number 2, and I don't know if that's
Yeah,
you know
Ms.
not,
Watson?
just
Yes.
a little more details for us.
Of course, and thank you, Chair McEwen, and for your question, Senator. I can't speak to the Wisconsin bill, so I might defer to somebody else to answer on that. But I would say that a common way to approach worker co-op conversions is through a 5-stage process. You start out with an exploration stage, really beginning with the owner, thinking about, is this what I really want to do, and learning about what it entails. And then with the workers, learning about the fact that the owner is thinking about doing this and what that actually entails, and learning about co-ops. And so at the end of that exploration stage, the group together decides, do we want to go into the next stage, which is an assessment stage. So this is where a business evaluation is necessary, where the owner needs to open up the books to usually a steering committee of workers to really begin to understand the health of the business, the prospects of the business, and leading, again, should everyone agree that we want to keep walking down the path, and positively to a structure phase. So once you kind of have a sense of what the business is worth, what the owner needs out of it, and what might be possible in terms of financing, then you can actually work on structuring the deal, which can take many different forms. You heard about owner, it can be owner finance to some extent. There are external lenders who will help finance it. So that's structuring the deal, but you also need to structure the cooperative. And so the workers themselves begin to do the things like, what are our bylaws going to look like? How are we going to interact with each other? What are the terms of our, engagement with one another as co-owners going to look like legally? And so at the end of that structure phase, and so that involves the accountants, and it involves finances, and the finance institutions, and it involves the lawyers. And at the end of that, you actually execute the deal, and that's the fourth stage of the execution. And that's you form a co-op, and the owner turns over the keys, and money changes hands, and very often the business doesn't necessarily change, because a lot of times through that work and that a careful, methodical, and intentional process, which does take time, people are kind of ready with who's going to be fulfilling certain roles, how are we going to organize ourselves so it's not disruptive to the business is the ideal outcome. And then finally, there is the support stage, and that's really ongoing care for the employees to figure out how to own things together, how to govern together as a cooperative. And then, there are, of course, shifts in terms of, how cooperatives function from how the business might have been beforehand. So that's kind of a very quick overview of a 5-stage process, a kind of a common way to think about how it looks. And then in terms of cost, in terms of time, I would say, I think that there's a range. Short would be 6 months, and 2 years. Think of it maybe up to 2 years. But again, others may be able to speak specifically to timelines for specific projects. And then in terms of cost, it's going to, it will vary according to the business itself. There is more and less complexity in terms of business valuation, as well as, imagine if you had to do like a market analysis, for a larger business, you might want to do that as part of a business valuation, whereas a small coffee shop may not need that kind of. So it's really, I would say it's across a range. So.
Follow-up, Senator?
No, that was very good. I appreciate that. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Okay, well, I just want to extend a huge thank you to each and every one of you who shared your testimony with us today, your expertise that you have developed over time, the experience that you have had with co-ops and worker-owned co-ops in particular. I grew up in Duluth, also the community of Duluth, and I first became aware of this sort of different model when my parents explained to me how we had our bank accounts at a credit union and the differences between a credit union and a traditional bank and why we did that. And I noticed that some of our labor unions also had I don't know if it was through the labor union or if it was just the membership of the labor union, but there's a lot of local credit union options for working people up in Duluth. And we have our food cooperatives, and then we have this our wonderful worker-owned cooperative, Positively 3rd Street Bakery, which we all love up in Duluth. And so just really, I feel like it would be wonderful to have a follow-up hearing sometime soon, because there's so much that I would love to dive into with all of you, sort of parsing out some of the differences between the worker-owned co-op model and some of the other models, and what are some of the pros and cons. And I think it does seem like when a worker cooperative model is developed and then followed in this very thoughtful and deliberative way, these are amazing businesses and amazing outcomes that you told us about today, and that I've seen also. I wonder what some of the challenges might be. I've always wondered, why aren't there more of these? Why don't we have more? There's so many sectors of our economy and our lives where I always wonder, why wouldn't this be a better situation if this whole enterprise was actually run and owned and controlled by the people doing the work for it? So thank you all so much. I wish we had the whole hearing to just pepper you with questions and hear even more. But please stay in touch with our office, and we'll continue to dig in even deeper on this. So thank you very much to all of you. Next up on our agenda for today, we have Senate File 5004, which is Senator Pappas's bill. Thank you. Welcome to your committee, Senator Pappas.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, and thank you for hearing this bill that kind of got a late start and was held up in the revisers for a little while, but now we're here, and I appreciate the hearing. Senate File 5004 would provide an exemption to Minnesota's Fair Labor Standards Act, the FLSA, for minor league baseball players that are compensated pursuant to the terms of a collective bargaining agreement. The Minnesota FLSA contains worker protections, including Minnesota's minimum wage laws, overtime protections, mandatory work, and rest breaks. To give a little background, minor league baseball players across the country unionized with the Major League Baseball Players Association, excuse me, in September of 2022. That effort followed years of advocacy to increase pay and living conditions for minor league baseball players, many of whom have historically been near the poverty line. The intent of Senate File 5004 is to exempt minor league baseball players from minimum wage requirements, especially given that their working hours are unclear given the amount of games, training, travel, injury management, and other activities the players participate in. The MLBPA is an affiliate of the AFL-CIO, and the AFL-CIO has shared that they are neutral on Senate File 5004. We do have some support letters in your packet.
Thank you very much, Senator Pappas. And we have a virtual testifier, Marcus Meeks.
Yep.
Can you hear us okay?
You,
welcome to the Senate Labor Committee. If you'd please introduce yourself for the record, and if you would also share with us where you're testifying from, that would be nice, I think, for us to know since you're virtual. And then please proceed with your testimony.
Certainly. Thank you so much, Chair McEwen and members of the committee. It's my pleasure to offer testimony in support of Senate File 5004. My name is Quest Meeks. I'm the Senior Vice President and Head Counsel for Policy, Integrity, and Compliance at Major League Baseball in the Office of the Commissioner. Our office is based in New York City, but I am full-time remote and testifying to you from New Orleans, Louisiana. I do want to share a few points that I think are important to emphasize as you consider Senate File 5004. Major League Baseball and the Major League Baseball Players Association agreed to a first ever for minor league players collective bargaining agreement on March 29th, 2023. And that's between Major League Baseball's 30 major league clubs and the minor league players. Now, I want to be clear, we're not advocating for Senate File 5004 because our collective bargaining agreement for minor league players fails to meet Minnesota state standards. But instead, it's because Major League Baseball's owners and the minor league players would prefer that their compensation structure reflect what they negotiated and what the players agree is most beneficial for them and a better fit for their actual day-to-day experience. So minor league players, as many of you might guess, even if you're not baseball fans, their job doesn't look like a typical hourly worker's job. So in the negotiation process with major league owners, minor league players sought and they received a compensation package that includes housing benefits, club-provided meals, per diems when they're on the road, highly subsidized healthcare benefits for themselves and their qualifying dependents, retirement benefits, salary continuation for disability that results from a work-related injury, and tuition assistance and even signing bonuses. Moreover, aside from all of those additional forms of compensation, the parties collectively bargained agreement ensures that players achieve the standard of living that is intended by Minnesota law. So based on salary alone, not counting those other forms of compensation that I just listed off, the 2026 minimum in-season salary for a AAA team, and Minnesota has a AAA team based just outside Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Paul, is $1,225 a week. And so, you know, that would cover up to 65 hours per week under even St. Paul's and Minnesota's more generous minimum wage requirement and framework. And so for us, a statutory change is still necessary, however, in order to address kind of some of the impractical hours tracking problem that we would see if we had to try to apply the standard hourly worker requirements to a minor league baseball player. And, you know, minor league players compete vigorously and both when they're at the ballpark and away from the ballpark, and they're all working towards that common dream they share of making it up to the major leagues. And so it doesn't benefit them, it doesn't benefit the major league club owners to have them playing practice or playing in a game and limiting their time at the club facilities or the resources that they have access to artificially to try to track a kind of the standard hourly worker system. I want to be mindful of the testimony time limit, so I'm happy to share more thoughts on kind of what makes it standard hourly worker tracking an ill fit for minor league players, but I'll pause my testimony there to answer any questions, or if the committee would like to hear more, and I'm happy to do so.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Senator Pappas, before we go to any member questions, did you have any final thoughts you wanted to share? Okay. Members, any questions or comments for Senator Pappas? Yes, Senator Marty.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Pappas, I think you pointed out, and I think we've all heard about minor league players in the past basically living in poverty in some cases. There's now a collective bargaining agreement. Since that time, the situation has significantly changed for some of the people. And Mr. Meeks would, Mr. Meeks would agree with that the players are now, the minor league players are now getting what they would feel is fair treatment.
Senator Pappas? Mr. Meeks?
You're asking me or Mr. Meeks?
I was asking you and Mr. Meeks if you had any comments, but you're saying it's significantly better.
Yes, because of the collective bargaining agreement, I would say it's significantly better. And it appears that everyone's on board with this change, just to make it less cumbersome to be tracking hours when, you know, they kind of live and breathe baseball during the season. So.
Mr. Meeks, thank you, Senator. Mr. Meeks, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Chair McEwen, I would just only add that to make it absolutely clear, you know, the signatory on behalf of minor league players is their bargaining representative. And so you don't have to take my word for it whether minor league players are happy with this agreement. Their representatives negotiated wholeheartedly for them and agreed to it ultimately what was signed by both parties.
Thank you. Any follow-up? Okay. Members, any other questions or comments? Great. Our intent then is to lay the bill over. Thank you very much for the presentation of this bill. That was my concern, of course, at the outset, was just wanting to make sure that this really was what the players were asking for through their representative, that they were looking for this waiver so that their collective bargaining agreement could go in force. So, yes,
Madam Chair,
Pappas.
is it your intention then to put the bill into your omnibus bill?
Yes,
All right,
it is.
thank you.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? All right. With that, Senate file, make sure I get the number right. Senate file 5004 is laid over. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next up, we have Senate file 4744, which is my bill. And I will. Senator Doherty. Are you comfortable? Okay. For this, but they're coming up, sure. Yes, please do.
Okay, Senator McEwen, Senate File 4744.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Members, in 2023, you may remember we passed the Safe Workplaces for Meat and Poultry Processing Workers Act to improve workplace health and safety protections and to ensure that workers have access to the benefits and training they need to safely do their jobs. Since then, we have received 2 annual reports from the Workers' Rights Coordinator, which is a position created in the Act in order to help bridge communication gaps between the Department of Labor and Industry, the meat and poultry processing industry, and workers about the safety protections, rights, and benefits provided under the law in manners tailored to the various unique workplaces in the industry. The Workers' Rights Coordinator has conducted over 60 on-site visits across Minnesota, spending hundreds of hours touring these facilities and conducting hundreds of interviews with employees and employer representatives to gather information for the annual reports. I feel the work that this Workers' Rights Coordinator does to inform workers and employers about the safety measures required has become ever more critical as the U.S. Department of Agriculture considers lifting the rule that limits meat and poultry processing line speeds. And in the run-up to our approval and passage of the Safe Workplaces for Meat and Poultry Processing Workers Act in 2023, and since, we have heard testimony and news stories come forward that detail just the dangerousness of the line speeds that we're seeing and the dangers, both from the point of view of creating problems that are more OSHA related, so repetitive injury oriented, and also just flat out literally dangerous, where people could actually be injured by the equipment. The Labor Committee heard a presentation on the 2025 report earlier this session, which included the recommendation to increase outreach and education for small meat and poultry processing locations. The report also notes that there are approximately 91 meat packing and poultry processing facilities dispersed throughout the state, requiring significant travel to perform site visits. The bill before us today, Senate File 4744, would appropriate $163,000 from the general fund to create another Workers' Rights Coordinator position at DLI in order to support this work under the Safe Workplaces for Meat and Poultry Processing Workers Act. Members, I'll point you to a letter in your packets, and also, I'm not sure if this is in the packets or not, this news article. If not, I can get it out to you. But just a recent news story about the concern that I just referenced about the potential move from the feds allowing plants to increase speeds coming up. So, and as just in so many areas of labor law here in Minnesota, the work that we do here at the state level is increasingly important, and I want to make sure that we have what we need to be able to protect Minnesotans in their workplaces. So this was a good place to do that. So I ask for your support.
Did you want to turn it over to testifiers, or are they just here for comment questions?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, I
okay.
would turn it over.
I see somebody
My
sitting there.
apologies, sorry.
Okay. Ms. Haysen, would you like to state your name for the record and then begin your testimony?
Okay. Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Jessica Haysen, and I am Communications Director with United Food and Commercial Workers. That's the UFCW, Local 663. I'm here today to testify in support of Senate File 4744. UFCW, Local 663, represents 14,000 hardworking grocery, retail, meatpacking, and food processing workers throughout Minnesota. Senate File 4744 ensures the Department of Labor and Industry has the capacity to properly enforce the Safe Workplaces for Meat and Poultry Processing Workers Act. Workplace safety laws mean little without enforcement. This bill will help ensure that the Safe Workplaces for Meat and Poultry Processing Act is not just words on paper. Meatpacking workers still face high injury rates, repetitive motion injuries, dangerous machinery, chemical exposure, and fast-paced line speeds. Investing in enforcement prevents the serious injuries and long-term disability. This one-time investment will reduce costs tied to workers' compensation, emergency health care, and workforce turnover. In short, the appropriation is modest, but the impact will be significant. The impact of one more additional workers' rights coordinator can make a difference. The additional dedicated coordinator improves worker outreach, complaint intake, education, and follow-through, ensuring workers know their rights in the workplace. Meatpacking workers kept the food system running during the pandemic and continue to do so in a critical way every single day. This bill is a concrete step towards treating those workers with the respect that they deserve. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today.
Thank you, Ms. Hazen. And up also, Josiah Moore from the Department of Labor.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Josiah Moore. I'm the Legislative Director at the Department of Labor and Industry. I'm testifying today in support of Senate File 4744, which provides funding for an additional FTE to support activities under the Safe Workplaces for Meat and Poultry Processing Workers Act. As was mentioned, DLI published our annual report, Recommendations for Meat and Poultry Processing Workers, on December 1st, 2025. That report included a recommendation that the meatpacking industry and its workforce would benefit from an additional worker rights coordinator to provide education, outreach, inspections, and technical assistance, and otherwise support general compliance in the industry. This funding would support that recommendation, and it would allow the department to invest further in the education, outreach, and enforcement activities that support Minnesota's meatpacking employers and employees. Thank you for the opportunity to testify in support of Senate File 4744.
Okay, thank you. And with that, that should conclude all the testifiers. So member question time.
Mr. Chair.
Senator Dornick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So if Josiah Moore, sorry I didn't catch you before you left. I have a question. First, I want to say thanks for bringing the bill, Senator McEwen, and I agree worker safety is very, very important and we want to take care of the workers. My question is with another FT full-time employee. with the budget that you got last year and the increase, I'm just wondering how come we're requesting more money? Could the department just cover this with the money they have? We have, private businesses that have struggles and things come up and they have to just deal with it. And so do families' budgets and all those things. It's not a lot, so I'm just wondering, is there an opportunity that maybe you guys could just internally find the money and fund it?
Mr. Moore or Senator McEwen?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Senator Dornick, for the question. As far as the timing, there have been 2 reports from the Meatpacking Worker Rights Coordinator, one in 2024 and 2025. The 2024 report did not include this recommendation, but the 2025 report did. So that sort of explains the timing of this request not existing last session, but existing this session. So just the timing was such that this recommendation does exist now. Was there another part to your question, Senator?
Senator Dornick?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you. Is there a way you could transfer from a different spot? Because you're saying, it sounded like your answer was that the money wasn't allocated for this specific spot. Is there a way that you can transfer money from a different spot or in your budget, from the budget that we gave you?
Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the question. There are times where agencies have flexibility in their funding sources and who we can hire within divisions. But I don't know whether specifically we would have that flexibility in our labor standards division funding to move funds around and hire an additional worker rights coordinator without an additional appropriation at this time.
Thank you.
Members, any other questions? Seeing none. Senator McEwen, any last thoughts?
No, thank you very much. I just really appreciate everyone's consideration of this issue and really want to make sure that we're giving the Department of Labor and Industry the tools that they need to carry out what we ask them to do. Thank you.
Okay, and then with that, Senate File 4744 is laid over.
Okay, members, for the last item on our agenda today, I'd like to orient us to this Thursday's coming hearing when we will hear testimony and markup of our labor omnibus bill. So I would like for our final item today to ask our nonpartisan staff, Ms. Doyle-Fontaine and Ms. Bird, to provide us with a walkthrough of the chair's proposal for the labor omnibus policy and finance bill.
Madam Chair, members, I can do the walkthrough of the A18 amendment that was posted and should be in your packets, and then Ms. Bird will go through the spreadsheet for us. So looking at the A18 amendment, there's a very short Article 1, which is 2 appropriations, and the first one is for the bill we just heard for the additional support for safe workplaces for Meat and Poultry Processing Workers Act, and then there is a blank appropriation for suitable seating enforcement. That is for Senator Dibble's bill that we'll discuss a little further in the policy provisions. So beginning with Article 2, the Labor and Industry Policy, Section 1, this is the bill we just heard from Senator Pappas, Senate File 5004, to exclude the minor league baseball players from the minimum wage. It magically appeared in the A18. So it would exclude them from the definition of employee for purposes of wage and overtime requirements. The Section 2 is a compliance order section in Chapter 177. This would provide enforcement authority to the Department of Labor and Industry to two sections that are relating to Senator McQuaid's bill on AI in the workplace settings, and then also cites to Senator Dibble's bill on suitable seating. And you'll see those citations on line 3.19. Then section 3 also is a section relating to Senator Dibble's bill on suitable seating that would allow enforcement for retaliation against employees for making complaints about not having suitable seating. And then that section also provides civil penalties. You'll see that on line 4.12. In section 4, this is a bill that we heard last year. It was Senator Mann's bill, Senate File 2235, and it adds on to the requirement to provide salary ranges in job postings, and this would add a requirement to disclose health plan compliance with prescription drug cost sharing limits. Then in section 5, sections 5 through 8 is a very pared down version of a couple of bills that we heard from Senator McQuaid. That's Senate File 4689, and I have the other one somewhere. It was the other bill. Thank you, Ms. Byrd. That is Senate File 4686. So there are definitions. What was done here in section 5 is combined the two definition sections for those two bills. I think there was just one additional definition that was in one section. The definitions go all the way over to page 7. And then section 6 is very pared down version on page 7, that on automated decision systems in employment settings, it provides some prohibitions for employers. So there's no notice or pre-notice or any of that. This is just prohibiting certain activities for these automated decision systems. And then on page 8, section 7, is employer prohibitions for the electronic monitoring tools in employment settings. Again, very pared down, talks about things that would be prohibited from these being used for electronic monitoring in employment. And then section 8 has the enforcement section for those two sections that I just discussed above, and it would allow a civil penalty for up to $2,500 per violation, and mentions that each use of those tools or systems would be a separate violation, and then would give discretion for the violation, for the penalty amount based on the size of the employer and severity of the violation. On page 9, section 9, this is from Senator Dibble's Senate File 4003 in the aforementioned suitable seating for employees requirement. There's also an enforcement section in here for the $250, up to $250 for a violation. Section 10 at the bottom of page 9 is, wait, that is section, no, not section, sorry, excuse me. Section 10 is from Senate File 3720. This was this is from a technical Department of Labor and Industry bill. It's updating some terminology from inspector to other terms to allow for broader scope of duties, more than just inspecting. Then section 11 on page 10 is from Senate File 3719, another DLI technical bill. There are several sections in here that deal with Class A and Class B installers in the electrical licensing scheme. So we're removing the Class A electrical installer reference here in section 11. And then over on page 12, this is section 12. This would also end the Class B licenses after December 1st of 2027, but would allow for the renewal of existing people that already have those existing licenses. Section 13 over to page 11 and 12, again, removing a reference to Class A installer. Section 14 would remove bonding requirements for contracted electrical inspectors. I think this also has to do with the Class A and Class B installers. And Section 15, so Sections 14, 15, 16, and 17 are from the governor's supplemental budget language that we heard the other day. Yes, we heard that the other day. So this Section 15 lowers the threshold for electrical inspections for fee for 14 or greater circuits feeders. This was the discrepancy where if you had 14, it was actually more than if you had 15. So this corrects that situation. On page 14, section 16, this is increases certain inspection fees from $35 to $55. I cannot remember the exact what was going on here, but it was a technical situation that the department discussed the other day. And then on page 15, section 17, this adds a cross-reference for fees when work is done without inspection to some systems that I think they just weren't added as they added the different systems to the statute. So we're including those references here. And then the repealers, they all have to do with the Class A and B installers. So there are going to be some various repeal dates based on the Class B going away and the Class A, and so those all deal with the removal of those Class A and B installers. And then this effective date sets the effective date for the AI-related sections that I mentioned previously from the McEwen bill. Those would be effective January 1st of 2027. And that is the contents of the A18. If anyone has any questions on the language, I'd be happy to try to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, committee members. Before you have a spreadsheet, and my intent is to walk through that with you. At the top, you'll see the fund total, which is $163,000 in fiscal year 2027, and with $163,000 continuing in the next biennium each year. And then if you jump down to line 15 on the spreadsheet, this is where the details of the appropriations are outlined. So the first item here is the Safe Workplaces for Meat and Poultry Processing Workers Act that you heard about, Senate File 4744 from Senator McEwen, and that's a general fund direct appropriation for $163,000 that is ongoing beginning in fiscal year 2027. And then the next line, we have a placeholder that is currently blank. It's a direct appropriation for suitable seating for employees enforcement, Senate File 4003 from Senator Dibble. And currently that is blank but represented with ellipses on this spreadsheet for awareness purposes. And then if we jump down to line 17, there's the Senator McQuaid's AI bills that have come from Senate File 4689 as amended. Currently, this is also listed with ellipses just to represent that there may be a fiscal impact here. There is no appropriation in the current bill, but we are waiting on a fiscal note. So that's just for your awareness at this time. With that, I'm happy to take any questions. That concludes my walkthrough.
Thank you both very much for that overview. Members, we can go ahead and take questions now from our nonpartisan staff, but it's my intent to otherwise kick our conversation to the next hearing for more substantive, any changes or amendments or things that people want to raise. Yes, Senator Rarick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just two quick little things. First one, on the AI provisions that are included in the bill, I know we had some discussion when we had the bill in front of us about that there could be a case where an employer has purchased an AI package and they're unaware of certain things that its capabilities, and is the language in front of us taking in any of that into account that we're aware of that would protect them from liabilities of capabilities they were completely unaware of and not using?
Madam Chair, members, and Senator Rarick, I don't believe that is taken into consideration. It was just really whittled down, and nothing new was added regarding that type of disclosure or acknowledgement, but certainly something can be discussed if needed. Please follow up.
Yeah, no, thank you, Madam Chair. So no follow-up on that one, but my second point, just wanted to, I did not make the comment when we heard 4744, but we had a testifier, or, you know, the one testifier made the comment that this was just simply a one-time appropriation, and we have in front of us, it was not a one-time appropriation. This is an ongoing appropriation for a continued full-time position.
Thank you, Senator. Any further questions or discussion? Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Everybody can digest that, and we'll come back to it on Thursday. Thanks very much today for your participation in our hearing, and with that, the Minnesota Senate Labor Committee is adjourned.